Hey, this is Stephanie O'Brien. Today I'd like to talk about how to create the content for your group program so that you can stop being limited by serving clients one-on-one and instead serve dozens or even hundreds of clients at the same time so you can greatly increase your income and impact. So in order to turn your expertise into an outline for a group program and thus turn it into an actual group program, your first step is to get a list of the steps that your clients have to take in order to get results. For example, let's say you're teaching them how to blog. Step one would be figuring out who their audience is if they haven't already, because that's going to determine everything else. It's going to determine what they write about, how they write about it, where they share that information. So start with that first basic step. Once they have that, you say to help them to determine what they're going to write about, which topics are going to be relevant to their audience. What does their audience need to know in order to see that this person is an expert, this person is somebody that they ought to listen to and sign up with? Then, of course, you teach them how to outline the blog post. What are the basic pieces of information that they need to share on these different blog post topics in order to get people interested, get them engaged, give them value, and then get them to take the next step. So that's step number one for you, is just make a list of all the different steps that your clients have to take. And then once you've done that first step, your next step is to flesh that outline out. And what are the different steps that go into choosing their target audience? What are the different steps that go into choosing the topics for their blog post? What steps go into creating that outline? So first start with that general outline of all the different steps and then break it down into sub-steps. Once you've done that, you have a pretty clear idea of everything that your clients need to do in order to get results, and you also know what order to give the information in. What's the first thing they need to know in order to implement the rest of the steps? What's the next thing they need to know? So once you've done that, you've got a pretty clear outline for your group program. While you're figuring this out, you'll also want to take note of where are the areas where they might need to personalize it a bit. And some things anybody can use just as is, other things might need a bit more personalized guidance so they can tailor it to their own personal business and situation and circumstances. So determining that will allow you to decide how much of this you want to deliver via pre-recorded curriculums, how many group coaching calls or one-on-one coaching calls you're going to need to supplement the pre-recorded curriculum. So make sure that you incorporate that into your planning. And the third thing you need to think about there is what kind of handouts or questionnaires they might need. For example, if you're helping them to figure out what they want to teach on who their niche is, or niche, heard it pronounced both ways, you might want to consider giving them a handout with a list of questions. My target audience's gender is this, their income level is this. Pick an income level where they can actually afford you fairly easily without having to sacrifice their rent money. Their age range, their marital status, anything else you can think of that's going to affect whether they want your program, how they use your program, or why they want your program. Because the more you can speak to the specific reasons why they want your program, the more likely they are to buy it. So you want to take all that into account in your handouts, and anything that you want your clients to figure out like that, anything you want them to fill out, any questions you want them to answer for themselves, if you can turn that into a handout that they can just fill in, it's going to be so much more convenient for them than having to take down all these notes. So there you go. Those are the basics for creating a group program. The outline of all the steps, the clear idea of how much individual coaching each person will need, and the handouts you want to include to make it more convenient for them. Oh, and bonus step number 4, if you are creating kind of an entry-level course for people who are still in this beginner phase, you might want to consider an upsell, something leading to a more advanced course that only people who have already had success with the first steps can take. So that's another step you'll want to consider. What you want to include the basic course that beginners can use, and what you want to use in the advanced course for those who are ready to do bigger, more difficult work and get better results. Well, I hope you found that nugget helpful. I'll see you in the next video. In the meantime, have an awesome day.